What is the most and least profitable car for rideshare? Hi, my name is Levi, and this is the tip you in the app, Daily Drive. Today's Daily Drive is brought to you by Tonquin. With Tonquin, you're not doing rideshare, you're driving parts. A little bit different. The Daily Drive is also brought to you by Rideshare.tax. Telling you what, 2025 is coming. You've been warned. Get ready today. Contact the team at Rideshare.tax. And the Daily Drive is also brought to you by VOOM Rideshare Insurance. There are thousands of cars to choose from and unlimited kind of different settings with Uber and Lyft. There's just a lot of options. If you are in the market to purchase a car for rideshare, I think this might be for you. Now, I'm not going to look at every single car. Nor if you're not in the market, I'm not telling you to switch the cars that you currently have, because trust me, the car that you currently have is definitely the best car today. The switching costs are really high. And also, while I'll look primarily at the full-time driver, if you're a part-time driver, this may not necessarily matter a lot to you too. But stay to the end, I'm going to show you all of the data. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the cars that I have. I'm going to tell you the perfect car. And I'm also going to show you the worst car. So let's dive into the numbers. The first thing you have to do is go to the Uber website to find out what cars are eligible. I like to look at Toyota, so I'm using Toyota, but you can use Honda, you can use any car. So 2008 is basically the oldest year that I can get a car. So I'm hoping to get something like in that 2010 to maybe 2012 type of range as far as a used vehicle. So that way I can get a couple of years of life out of the vehicle. So here's my car. I have a 2022 Toyota Prius Prime, black leather interior. It's limited. It was a little expensive. And you can see I live in the frozen tundra of upstate New York. I also have a black 2024 Tesla Model Y. It is the 7-seater black leather interior. So these are my two cars. So let's take a look at the data on my two cars. The first thing we need to start with is the price of the vehicles. So these are not the total price. This is the price before taxes, title, registration, and stuff like that. Because I wanted to make it simple. Because I live in the state of New York, so it's a little bit more expensive than other places. I just wanted to show you what the base price, that a walkaway price was with my vehicle. So I paid $31,950 for the Toyota Prius Prime, and I paid $36,557 for the Tesla Model Y. And the Tesla Model Y and the Prius, both when I purchased them, came with tax credits. They both had 0 miles. Here's what I've been averaging with the Toyota Prius Prime, about 62.1 miles to the gallon. Again, remember, it's a plug-in hybrid. The Tesla Model Y, I've been getting about 250 watts per mile. If you're not a owner of a EV, just trust me, this is basically a good number to go with. So the first thing we have to do is come up with the financing costs. I'm going to use $6,500 as a down payment on the vehicle. You could put more, you could put less. So this is the amount I financed. Here is an interest rate on a new car. Here is the total interest I'm going to be paying for that interest rate over a 60-month term, which means my interest per mile, cost per mile, is 1.3 cents and 1.5 cents for each car. So again, all it is taking the total interest, dividing it by the number of miles, and the number of miles is going to be 300,000 miles. That's what I think the life of these vehicles are going to be. It could be more, could be less, but I'm pretty sure I can get 300,000 miles out of both of these vehicles. So the value of the vehicle at the end of the life of the vehicle is going to be $2,000. That's going to be what we call the salvage value. And this is going to help me calculate depreciation. So my depreciated value means it's going to go from $31,000, right, minus the $2,000, gives me $29,000. And again, the price of the Tesla is $36,000 minus $2,000 gives me $34,000. The depreciated miles is going to fully depreciate all 300,000 miles, which means my depreciation cost per mile is 10 cents on the Toyota Prius Prime and 11 cents, 11.5 cents on the Tesla Model Y. Cost of fuel per gallon, right now it's about $3.45 nationwide for a gallon of gas, which means over the life of the vehicle, I'm going to use 4,831 gallons. For the Tesla, I'm going to burn 75,000 kilowatts The cost per kilowatt right now for me has been averaging about 25 cents. It's 39 cents when I go to a supercharger, but it's 14 cents when I'm at my house. I do a little bit of both. So the fuel cost is going to be $16,662 over the life of the vehicle, and it's $18,975 for the life of the vehicle for the Tesla. If I were to go fuel cost per mile, it's 5.6 cents per mile on the Toyota Prius Prime, and 6.5 cents, give or take, for the Tesla Model Y. Maintenance is a little bit more complicated, but still, it's let's say $95 for an oil change every 5,000 miles. So the cost per oil change is 2 cents per mile. Tires, the Tesla Y is going to be really expensive and they're going to last a lot less. $750 for Prius tires, and then the Tesla Model Y. And these are rotations and stuff in there too. So it's about 1 cent per mile for the Prius and about 3 cents per mile for the Tesla. The brakes are going to cost more on the Tesla, but I don't brake as much because I'm using regenerative braking. So every 25,000 miles and 75,000 miles, so it's about 1 cent per mile. Major repair costs, they say $7,000 for the Tesla and $3,000 for the Prius. Over 300,000 miles, so now we're looking at basically 1 cent per mile, 2 cents per mile. So the total maintenance cost per mile on the vehicles are going to be 5 cents and 6 cents. Are you with me so far? 22 cents per mile is the total cost per mile of the Prius, and the Tesla is going to cost me 25 cents per mile. So as promised, let's find the best car for rideshare. If I'm going to go out and buy a car strictly for rideshare, knowing what I currently am driving, I've got the Tesla and my Prius. I would look at a used Toyota Prius. And the reason why I came up with a $6,500 down payment on the other cars is this car, it costs $6,500. It's got 202,000 miles. Just take a quick look at it. It's a Toyota Prius, but you can get any other type of high efficiency vehicle. I just wanted to show you this one, but you can see cloth seats. It's going to go for probably another 100,000 miles. I look for a car on cars.com, look for the best deal. It gets 48 miles of the gallon. It does have keyless start. It's got a perfect Carfax. It has one car owner. No records of wrecks or anything like that. If you're looking for something a little bit new, which I would do because I share my car with my wife and she probably would not drive this car, I would probably get another Toyota Prius. I found a used one, a 2021 XLE, 50,000 miles, $25,000 cost. What I like about this car and what I like about all my cars when it comes to rideshare is I like black leather interiors. Let's see if I can find a picture of the black leather. Because again, passengers are going to be sitting in there. It's the easiest to keep clean. I'm going to compare these two cars being the best car, basically the cheapest car, and then I don't know, I guess a higher end, cheaper car. All right, so I'm not going to go through all the numbers again and how to calculate them. I just want to show you what the numbers look like really quickly. So here's the 2013 Prius, and I like that. It's going to give me 3, 4, maybe 5 years, depending on how many miles I'm going to drive or years I'm going to drive. It's just a really good price point, $6,500. This is a great car. It gets 48 miles of the gallon. Again, because I don't have to finance anything, I'm putting a $6,500 down. It's 0 cents per mile, whereas the XLE is going to be a little bit more. And again, I have a higher interest rate for used vehicles because that's typically the way it works. Here's your depreciation. You can see that, again, the Tesla is going to depreciate the most, but the cheap Toyota Prius is still going to depreciate at 4 cents per mile. Just because you buy the cheapest car doesn't mean, or you've paid it off, doesn't mean there isn't depreciation. The car is still going to depreciate, just a lot less. Here's your fuel cost per mile. You can see these are just a little bit more because the Prius Prime is getting 62 cents per mile, whereas the Prius, these two Priuses are getting about 48 gallons per mile. The costs of the maintenance for these vehicles are going to be the same, I'm guessing. So here you go, total cost per mile. This is really important here. 17 cents per mile for the Toyota Prius 2, whereas the Tesla is at 25 cents and the Toyota Prius XLE. All right, so here is, I think, the worst vehicle for rideshare. It's a great vehicle. I'm not saying it's a bad vehicle. I'm just saying it's the worst for rideshare. This is going to be a 2008 Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT 8. And I'm going to give you all the reasons why it is not a good car for rideshare. First and foremost, look at it. It's a 2008. If I were to go back and look at eligible cars, 2008 is the oldest car I'm able to drive in my city, and I'm pretty sure it's across the nation. The oldest car that you can drive is 2008. So you can only get 1 year out of this vehicle. Then you're going to have to sell it again. The next reason why it's not the greatest vehicle is that it's got horrible gas mileage. Take a look at this, 11 to 14 miles to the gallon. And I'm going to price it at 11. It's great. But that being said, the worst part is this, though. It's got great black leather interior. It looks good. If you like Jeeps, this is not a bad car. It's still only a 5-seater. I can't even do XL or Uber Comfort or anything else. I can really just do the basic Uber X and that's it, or Lyft Basic. So there's just really no other revenue that you can get out of this vehicle. At least if you got a different car that has 7 seats, maybe you can do XL or something like that. So again, it's going to expire in terms of usability. It's expensive. It gets bad gas mileage, and you can only do, Uber X. So let's take a look at the numbers, and I'm going to show you why it's important to know this. In fact, before I even show you the numbers, I want to compare this car to this car. That's right. If you were to buy a $60,000 brand new Cybertruck and actually use it for rideshare, I don't think it's eligible for rideshare, but let's take a look. I'm pretty sure it's not. But let's look at Tesla. Let's go through the list of cars. Tesla. Cybertruck is not even eligible. But hypothetically, just for fun, I'm going to compare that Jeep to this Tesla. And I want to show you why it's so important to understand your costs, because then we're going to transfer over to revenue and you're going to see where it all matters. All right, again, I'm not going to go line by line through each one of the numbers. I just want to highlight certain things. The Tesla Cybertruck, I'm thinking is getting 300 watts as opposed to my Y is 250. But look at that miles per gallon. That's going to be the killer right there. And this is so critical. When you are buying a car for rideshare, yes, the price of the vehicle sincerely matters, but miles per gallon, maintenance costs, the life of the vehicle are going to be just critical. Let's watch. Let's go through it here. So again, down payment's the same. Here's our financing. And you can see the Cybertruck costs 2.5 cents per mile, whereas that Prius is 0 because it's paid for. And that's really important. But right behind the Cybertruck, and it's even more than my Tesla Model Y, is this Jeep Grand Cherokee. It costs 1.7 cents as opposed to the Tesla Model Y, which is 1.5. And that's the difference between new and used car financing. Expected miles, let's just assume the Jeep's going to go 300,000 miles. I don't believe it. Jeeps are great cars. They're fun, but I don't think they last 300,000 miles. Not an SRT Jeep Grand Cherokee. But again, here's a depreciation per mile. This Cybertruck's going to go 19 cents, which is obvious. It's going to depreciate so much. Whereas the paid off car is only going to depreciate at 4 cents. Now your cost per gallon, look how many gallons of gas that SRT8 is going to use. 20,000 gallons over the life of the vehicle. So your fuel cost per mile is 31 cents per mile. And that's gas at $3.45. God forbid you're in California. Here in New York, it's a little bit more depending upon where you're at. 31 cents a mile. And that's killer. If you are going to buy a car for rideshare, get a car that gets great gas mileage. Again, look at my Toyota Prius Prime getting 5.5 cents per mile in terms of fuel costs. Whereas the Cybertruck's even doing 7 cents, but that SRT8 is doing 31.5 cents per mile. That's going to kill your profitability. Let's take a look. Going through it, maintenance costs, tire costs. I'm not going to give you all these numbers. Take a screenshot if you want to look at it. The Cybertruck's going to cost a little bit more. The Jeep's going to cost a little bit more, but they're all somewhere between 5 to 8 cents. But I wanted to be as accurate as possible. But here you go. Here's where the rubber meets the road. Horrible dad Uber driving joke. 17 cents per mile for that 2013 Prius 2. 51 cents per mile for the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8. All right, I hear you. If you hate Toyota Priuses, I'm not saying you should get a Prius. Nor am I saying Jeeps are bad. If you like Jeeps, get a Jeep. Only stipulating that costs matter to you as a driver. So if you're going to drive a lot of hours and put on a lot of miles, you definitely want to manage your costs. So get a car that is really cheap, that gets great gas mileage, that's really low on maintenance. Toyota Prius is the kind of model that I'm looking at, but you can look at Hondas, or I don't know if there's a GM car that is like that. I'm sure there are. The electric cars you're going to see on the other side are going to be really valuable when it comes to revenue. At least right now they are. And I want to show you that. But the Jeep is poor, not because it's a bad car. I'm sure it's cool and fun to drive. It just costs too much. So when you're looking to purchase a car, it's just really tough. If you want to drive around in style on your private life, that's great. It's just going to cost you money as a rideshare driver. So let's go ahead and take a look at the revenue and look at your bottom line profitability comparing all of these cars. So I just have all of my data from 2023, and I wanted to use that data to help facilitate a conversation about a hypothetical 2024. So here's what I did. I did about 30,000 miles over 800 hours. I made $22,000 in fares, $6,000 in promotions, $4,000 in tips. I ended up making a little over $33,000 in revenue. My earnings per mile was $1.07. Now, when I say I drove 30,000 miles, that includes my total cost, my commuting time. I live out in the country. If you live right in the heart of a city, your miles are going to be a lot less than mine. But I just want to show you what data that I have. Let's take a look here. Your 2024 miles would be, if you were to do 2,000 hours of full-time job, you'd put on about 73,000 miles using my data. So you'd make about $53,000 in fares. And 6,000, I'm going to keep the promotions the same, but there's two more promotions that we should look at. The Tesla Model Y promotion for purchasing, not a Model Y, but if you purchased a car through Uber, they gave you $2,000. So there you go. I'll take that. And then there's an EV promotion that equals $2,520 for the year. And here they are right there for the Cybertruck and that. So that means my earnings per mile, okay, is going to be $1.02 on the Tesla Model Y. It's going to be a little bit less with the Tesla Cybertruck, but all these other cars are going to make 96 cents per mile. Again, that includes the commute mile. That doesn't mean the upfront fare or anything like that. This is all hypothetical, but I think what's really important here to note is that bonuses and promotions really matter. If you can max them out, it's really important. The other thing is I'm equalizing the fares, but this Tesla Model Y gets Uber Comfort. And if I drive for Lyft, because it has actually 7 seats, I can do XL, whereas none of these others can do anything else. They can just do Uber X or Lyft Basic. But I'm not even putting that in my numbers. I'm just keeping it all as if we did all Uber X. All right, so here's your cost per mile right here across the board. So we go total costs, your margin per hour, and look at that. Actually, I think this is wrong. Let me go back and do this again here. My total cost per mile, Prius Prime. Did I do this wrong? I don't think so. Oh, it's even going to be different. It's going to be worse. Okay. So here's your cost per mile. So your total cost. But look at this. To drive that Jeep Grand Cherokee full time for 1 year, it's going to cost you $37,165. Whereas that used Toyota Prius is only going to cost you $12,000. My Tesla Model Y is going to cost $18,000. The Cybertruck is going to cost you $27,000. And again, that includes depreciation, maintenance, fuel, everything. Interest on your car loan and everything. So here's your margin per hour. Again, you're not going to make bad money with any one of these, except for the Jeep, you're going to make $16 an hour, whereas the Cybertruck, you're going to make $22. But look at the differences. I'm going to profit $57,507 in that Toyota Prius 2, whereas I'm 2% off on my Tesla Model Y, 6% off on my Prius Prime, 8% off on my Prius, on that Prius 4 that I might purchase, 43%. I'm making almost half, well, a little less than half with the Jeep. That's why it's so critical. Even the Cybertruck makes more than that Jeep. It's just really critical. And you're like, well, Levi, I don't drive 40 hours. Okay, the percentages are still the same, but here we go. Oh, I didn't transfer that data over. Let's do it again. Here's your cost. If you're only going to drive 5 hours a week, that Prius 2, you could basically pay for that entire Prius 2 in 1 year, $6,600 in profit after expenses, driving 5 hours a week with that Toyota Prius 2. Whereas the Jeep, again, you're making 48% less. And in this scenario too, I got rid of all the promotions. The reason why I did was because if you're driving only 5 hours a week, you're not going to really get any promotions. But again, it's just a used high miles or high miles per gallon car is going to be just killer. Even if this Jeep hypothetically did XL, even if this Jeep hypothetically did Comfort, you're not going to make up that difference. You're just not going to make up that difference. I'm not saying you should get a Prius over a Jeep or you should buy a Tesla or anything like that. All I'm saying is when it comes to purchasing a car, if you want to purchase a car explicitly for rideshare, you got to consider costs are critical. It's just so important. You can see the Jeep makes half what the Toyota Prius does. And that's critical. And you're like, Levi, you bought 2 new cars. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And the reason why I bought 2 new cars is because I share my car with my wife. I don't drive Uber and Lyft full time. I do about 20 to 30 hours, but I understand those costs. I'm willing to pay more because I share a car with my family. And my wife doesn't want a beater Toyota Prius. And that's okay. So we have to make our personal choices. If you want to race around in a Jeep, do it. But you have to know that it's costing you thousands of dollars. Even if you're driving 5 hours a week, it's costing you thousands of dollars compared to that Toyota Prius. I 100% recommend being as frugal as possible when it comes to rideshare because they're frugal with you. They're going to try to continue to pay you less and less. And it's not like people tip us based upon our cars. I make the same level of tips per ride that I make in the Tesla than in my Prius. So the people that are going to tip are still going to tip you. So you're not going to make more in tips because of the car that you drive. It's all the same. Costs are the one thing that are in your control as a driver. And so I just encourage you to really think about your costs and find ways to manage them. So when it comes to switching cars, if it's time to get another car, consider the cheapest, highest miles per gallon car that you can find that you can get a year, 2 or 3 years out of in the world of rideshare. So what kind of car do you drive? Am I wrong? Am I right? Take a look at the data. Let me know what you think. I really want you to make as much money as possible. And it's really hard to tell the rideshare companies what to pay us, but it's easy for you and me to control our costs. Be well, be safe, and know that I'm cheering for you. Bye.